we were partway through the fourth stanza. So I just want to finish that and then go into the fifth. So it says, the great king of trees now stands tall, yet certainly it will one day age and dry. The Lord of death shall certainly take us too, and if we are not prepared with knowledge, we shall no doubt know terror and regret. So the last two lines we still need to do. So if we are not prepared with knowledge, we shall no doubt know terror and regret. Here, knowledge does not mean intellectual knowledge. You can have all the intellectual knowledge you want and have an awful death and not know what to do at the time of death. So what it means is to know what to do at the time of death, how to guide our own mind at the time of death. Yeah, and so it's something we think about, something we meditate on, something we practice in our minds, so that when the time comes, we have some kind of habit, and we can go into that habit. So the least thing, the minimal thing we want to do at the time of death is take refuge. Okay, so just to remember to take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, yeah, and to really think, well, how am I going to think of the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha? Am I going to think of the Buddha as somebody who's going to sweep down and pick me up and, rescue me? Or, we have to really think when we take refuge of true cessations and true path and take refuge in them. And that will get our mind thinking, about emptiness. And thinking about emptiness at the time of death is very, very helpful, because our normal reaction at death is freak out because we're losing everything we know as ourself. Yeah. So that's the terror part. Probably before that or mixed in with that comes the regret part, which is, I did all these negative actions and I didn't purify them. Yeah. And so dying with this kind of regret, is really miserable. And then not knowing how to guide our mind or think about emptiness or bodhicitta is even more miserable, So that's why it's very important, to apologize to who we need to apologize immediately when something happens, or as soon as possible, because we don't know when we're going to die. And to forgive whoever we need to forgive also as soon as possible, because we don't know when we're going to die. And sometimes our pride keeps us from apologizing and forgiving. It's like we'll admit to ourselves, oh, what I said was not so cool. But then, it's like, but I don't want to let the other person know. Even though they know that what I said wasn't so cool. Because it hurt their feelings or it offended them. So they know that already, but we don't want to admit it. And then at the time of death, all these things could suddenly come into our memory of, the grudges we've held and the ill will that we've maintained towards many people and how we, have hatred towards them, or we've made mistakes and too proud to, apologize to other people. So all of that, can come on strong at the time of death and lead to a lot of regret. Yeah. We could also regret missed opportunities to practice the Dharma, that we had the opportunity to keep precepts and we gave it up. We had the opportunity to attend retreats or attend teachings, but we told ourselves we were too busy. We had the opportunity to study or practice, but, our mind made up excuses, or we decided to go to the beach instead or go skiing instead or whatever, So, these kind of missed opportunities to practice the Dharma, but then at the time you're dying, what can you do? This life is over. You can't go back and relive your life. And you see, wow, I could have, done more purification, created more merit. I could have learned the Dharma and practiced it better, so when I'm dying, I know what to do. But instead, I was too busy, hanging out with my friends and, earning a good income and taking care of my house and going on vacations and, establishing myself in my career and, getting my certificates and my titles in my career and so on and so forth. And so I said I didn't have time for Dharma. I had the mañana and la mañana mind, so to have that regret at the time of death doesn't do us much good because we can't do anything about it. And it makes the mind incredibly painful, and very, very scared. Yeah, because you realize you had the chance and then you blew it. Yeah, and so, I don't know, somehow, ever since I was a kid, I always had this sensation of like, I don't want to die with regret because I think that would be one of the most awful ways to die, And so, seeing that, then like really as much as possible, keeping things clean, and even to ourselves to admit when we've done something negative, instead of always blaming the other, rationalizing it, or, giving ourselves so much empathy that we don't really admit that we did something that wasn't cool. Yeah. So I'm not talking about self-criticism, getting down on ourselves, but just the way sometimes we can really make excuses for our bad behavior and not confess and not purify. So, the real importance of doing that in our life so we don't wait until the time we die. So I think we'll stop there and continue with these last two lines next time. But there's a lot to think about, and especially our relationships with other people, to just in our own minds have cleaned up our feelings towards other people as much as we can so that we don't die with these kind of murky feelings of, things are sticky or things weren't right or there was deception or, whatever it was. And so the important thing here is that from our side, we change our attitude. We can't control how other people relate to us. But from our side, at least not to have any kind of funny feelings about other people or about things we had or anything like that. Give everything away so we don't have to worry about it when we're dying.